Mr. Groves was there, and I guess this is the last time he and I are going to speak at the same place at the same time. And because he essentially announced he's not going to be doing any more forums or debates. That's too bad to hear that. I think the voters deserve to hear, especially as you announce incredibly unrealistic plans going forward that I have every intention of just ripping apart piece by piece, the value added tax. I was told in very clear terms I was going to hell. For somebody to come forward and tell me I'm going to hell because I acknowledge the civil union and that I acknowledge that this is settled law against this monstrous school bond proposition. And I'm only one vote, but I would encourage everybody to study that. It's an out of control number. It's going to be approaching $500 million by the time interest is tacked on. And I am looking out for the students. Welcome back. I want to start quickly. 2 announcements, great endorsements that I received these last couple of days. One is, I found out yesterday, the Hidalgo County Young Republicans, a group that I've worked with and gotten to know during this campaign, energetic group, really just the future of Hidalgo County Republicanism. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful that they took a vote and I came out on top of that. And I believe they're following my campaign and they support my ideas going forward. And I just really think that they see a path forward to winning in November with my candidacy. And I'm really, really thankful to that group. So Hidalgo County Young Republicans, thank you. Some of you are stepping forward to help. And I'm thankful for that. I'm really thankful for that. Second was the Rio Grande Valley Republican Men, another wonderful group. I'm very thankful to hear that. And so add this to the sheriff's department, add this to the wives of the Border Patrol. And I want to distinguish, because there's just kind of been a mockery of this whole endorsement process, not these groups. And I've been very choosy with this term endorsement and accepting endorsements. I'm proud to accept these 4 endorsements. It's way beyond the silliness I've seen of other campaigns of dozens and dozens of individuals and just a volume of, for example, on the other side, every Democrat that you could ever think of in the 956 has endorsed a candidate on the other side. How did that work out? It doesn't always add up to what you think it does. To that I say, I'm thankful these are groups of people, hardworking groups of people, and it represents a lot of normal, common sense people. And this rises beyond any sort of personal pettiness that I've seen kind of in the other side. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I've received these. And going forward, I do want to be choosy. And I want to hold these endorsements to the level of the ones that I've received. To me, is at the very, very top. For sure, the top. And so I want to draw that distinction on what the term endorsement means. Last night, we had a little event. I got to say, it was, I got my 2 minutes to speak. Mr. Groves was there. He had his 2 minutes to speak. And I guess this is the last time he and I are going to speak at the same place at the same time. And because he essentially announced he's not going to be doing any more forums or debates or whatever you want to call these discussions. None of this back and forth of ideas. So that's too bad, Gary. That's too bad to hear that. I think the voters deserve to hear, especially as you announce incredibly unrealistic plans going forward that I have every intention of just ripping apart piece by piece, the value added tax. Happy to talk about that. I think more and more of this process is good. Put our ideas on the table, really just to test our sincerity and credibility and knowledge and logic, and all of this is on the table going forward. What's too bad, Gary? That's too bad. You're going to have to hide behind your posts and whoever types these things out for you going forward. But last night took a turn for the bizarre, I would say. I had mentioned something that I thought was not controversial. I thought it was settled law the way President Trump describes it. On this issue of the civil union, the civil marriage, not the sacrament of marriage through the church, but the civil union that we understand is settled law. It's Supreme Court law. It's legal in all 50 states. And in very clear terms last night, I was told directly, because of my position on this, which, by the way, is the same as President Donald Trump's and the same as the Pope. This comes from the Vatican, the acknowledgement and the distinction between the civil union and the sacrament of marriage. And now the church even offers blessings. The church even offers blessings as of 2023 of same-sex marriage. It doesn't rise to the level of the sacrament of marriage, but they are acknowledging, one, the civil process, and now recognizing it in the church. So this is beyond the pale. I was told in very clear terms I was going to hell for my position on this issue. And so I want to speak directly to that gentleman that said that. I feel sorry for you, sir. You were very, very much misinformed. And the champion that they look to with wearing the red caps the way they do, and Gary, he kind of prances around all over town with these red caps. I would just describe it as the laziest form of campaigning that I've ever heard of in my life. You don't just put a red cap on and say and declare yourself that this is your platform. President Trump. I am on the side of President Trump on this issue. He stated very clearly it's settled and that he's fine with it. Okay, that's just the way President Trump talks. And blunt, to the point, and very clear. Let me be the first to say I don't think President Trump is going to hell for his position on this. I for sure confess my sins and I pray for forgiveness. And I believe in that side of the church. But for somebody to come forward and tell me I'm going to hell because I acknowledge the civil union and that I acknowledge that this is settled law and that I recognize the precedent of the Supreme Court and that I understand that there's no path forward to overturn this and that this is now acknowledged through the Catholic Church, I feel sorry for you, sir. I really do. I believe this is a non-issue. This is not controversial. It has risen to the level of bizarre in this camp. And really going forward, is this going to be your message? If you guys were to win this primary, how would you possibly have a chance to win in November with the platform of you have every intention of Mr. Groves, if he can muster up the energy and to get out on any sort of stage or in front of any microphone to say that he has every intention of overturning gay marriage and that you're going to go to hell if you believe in it and support it? How could that be your message going forward? It's a world of bizarre. I just reject it completely. I go to sleep just fine, knowing that I am covered by the Pope on this issue. And the Catholic Church recognizes these matters, even blessings within the Catholic Church for same-sex marriage. What is wrong with you people? Jump into the real world. Welcome to the year 2026. The session is 2027 in January. This is not controversial. And so I just reject everything you're saying. Very fractional section of society. Very harsh and extremely judgmental. The Pope said, who am I to judge? The Pope said, who am I to judge? But going forward, we're to keep it positive. I wanted to discuss this issue of tax. I'm proud to say I had 2 minutes to speak last night. I guess I took it as an opportunity of a quasi-debate. So I challenged Mr. Groves on this proposal of the value-added tax. Terrible idea, Gary. It's a terrible idea. It's a pathway to nowhere. The governor's never going to sign this. It's to create a new tax in Texas to eliminate all property tax. This is his plan. He put this out 2 days ago. He put out 99% regurgitated completely of my ideas. I had to force him and challenge him, put forward your ideas. He finally did, and it patterns mine nearly word for word. I'll take it as a compliment, Gary. But then you add it with your one unique idea. The one thing in your entire platform that's unique is to create a value-added tax, which is a terrible idea. Let me tell you for who. My mom is on fixed income. Anybody that's in the middle class is disproportionately hit with this tax. Anybody in the lower class, the ones that reap the benefit of this are the rich. Gary, that's you. So I just reject it on its face, and I'm going to do everything I can to stop it and really just to ridicule the idea. And let me tell you, this comes from Western Europe, the value-added tax. I know, I've been there. My brother was in Afghanistan, and we met him there in London when he had a couple of weeks off. This was over 20 years ago. That's my familiarity with the value-added tax. And it seemed like such a great idea at the time. It's a monster of a tax. I'm familiar with the value-added tax. It hits an item, just say a television. it doesn't just hit that item on the sale. That's a sales tax. It hits this television throughout the multiple stages of production of the television. So that same TV gets taxed many, many times. So it generates an incredible amount of money. It's actually inflationary also. So the cautionary tale here, this can destroy what we have here in Texas is a booming economy. For sure, the governor would never sign it. I would never allow anything like that. I'm just one person. I don't pretend to be a big person, but I want to make it very clear that just to do my best to explain to the people that do follow me, this is a bad idea for anybody in the middle class and the low class. I'm not gonna stand for it. I'm in line with the governor's plan to cut our property taxes in half. That's a good start. That's a great start. We've never had anything like that. I'm happy to file that on day one. My plan is very simple, straightforward, and it's ready for the governor's signature. Gary, your ideas, you're just creating things, and I think you're trying to pass them along to your group of followers as if you've come up with a genius idea to eliminate all tax on the backs of the poor and the middle class. It's not going to work. I'm not going to stand for it. So last night, there was one of the political operatives, one of the boots on the ground directors of Governor Abbott's team, and Ms. McCoy is there, and she is essentially the voice of the governor on the political side. And she passed along a message from Austin that this seat, District 41, is flippable, it's winnable, and it's going to take the right candidate going forward. I must distinguish myself at this point as providing a legitimate chance. President Trump won the district by 2 points, and this is a Republican-leaning district. You can't go forward with antiquated ideas that the president denounces and that the Pope denounces. You can't go forward with these ideas. I'm jumping into the real world. I'm presenting a winnable solution, real world ideas. My ideas not going to be help millionaires like you, Gary. My ideas are going to help a family where $200 a month makes a difference. Makes a difference to us here at the house. It makes a difference to everybody here on the block. I think it's going to make a difference to everybody in the district. Spread it out. That's the whole state. That's the whole state of Texas. And that's just going to crank up our economy even more. That stimulus will forever build the surplus that we have. That's going to take care of the kids at the school district. And to that point, I'm the only one that has come out against this monstrous school bond proposition. And even to the point where I've been, I would say, slightly attacked on that for my, I would call it common sense approach regarding explosive tax and explosive bloat that is in this monstrous bond proposal. I'm against it. Like I said, I'm one vote. I'm only one vote. But I would encourage everybody to study that. It's an out of control number. It's going to be approaching $500 million by the time interest is tacked on. And I am looking out for the students. There was someone that spoke last night, an educator from the district, coming out in favor of the bond proposition. And he was speaking to an incident that happened last September, the beginning of the school year, hot. The ACs weren't working. And so therefore he mentioned some other things, but this was his number one point. We need this bond of $335 million because the ACs weren't working in September. And my thought on that, how are you going to pass the hat around to the community asking for hundreds of millions of dollars and you can't do the most basic thing of maintenance of the AC? We do it at our homes, and fixing of HVAC units and just routine maintenance. This is not what bonds are for. What is going on with the district? What is going on with our school board? What is going on with our leadership that you can't manage the many millions of dollars that you already have? That all of that needs to be scrutinized. It's actually an example of not to pass the bond because you've clearly shown an inability to take care of the most basic functions. And then you're going to be asking for an explosive number, exponentially grown to these hundreds of millions of dollars. I say no. And we just need to tighten the belt. And we just need to do a better job. Going forward, if you were to break this thing apart to smaller pieces, logical discussions, okay, You've proven yourself that you can handle AC repairs on your own with the millions of dollars that you collect as it is from us in society. And then maybe it's time to consider building the Performing Arts Center for the mariachis, and you present a limited bond rather than this monstrous clumped together bond proposal. And on that issue of a limited bond, and that's something that culturally we take pride in, that we're number one in the nation for mariachi. McAllen ISD would be the gold standard for this wonderful form of art. Put that on the ballot, I would be the first to vote for it. Let me be very clear. In that limited situation where you've presented logic and you've presented that you're able and you're capable of handling your finances on these other things, and you present a limited bond proposal, let's just get straight. That makes sense. So to everybody that's broadsiding me on this issue, and I don't care for the kids, 100% I do. I'm not going to burden kindergartners that are going to be dealing with this when they come back after college at the age of 23, and they're going to have to pay this back because these are 30-year notes from the age of 23 to 35. They're going to have to pay this back 12 years. I'm thinking of the kindergartner today at Gonzales Elementary, 5-year-old, 6-year-olds. They're going to come back from college at the age of 23 and going to be burdened with these many millions of dollars. Nobody speaks to them. Nobody thinks of that. Nobody thinks that they're going to be paying this back when I'm gone. I'll be gone. I'm not going to be paying. I'm gone. It's going to be on their shoulders. Please think of them. I am thinking of the kids. Going forward, meetings with business community, the message is going forward, and regarding property taxes and the things that we can tackle at the State House. I've got my message going forward. I'm proud of this campaign. I'm proud of the endorsements that we're receiving, and I have to continue to be myself, and I'm going to be true to my word and true to the principles that I presented, and I think that's what the region needs, and we're going to keep it the same going forward. My name is Sergio Sanchez. Happy Wednesday. It's a good day. It's a nice day outside. Thank you. Corruption. Push for clamping down on corruption. The savings would be passed along to us. I would bring a prosecutor's mentality. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop that. I have the background to do it. Thank you.
I feel like Sergio does in this topic. So again, I find myself agreeing with Sergio. So yes, again, I find myself agreeing with Sergio. The only thing is that
That's my proposal.